Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Trip, and welcome to That's a Shoot. We are back off a hiatus. We took a break not only for Christmas, but we took also another couple of weeks afterwards, just because my birthday fell on last Friday, and so I decided to, just have that to myself, day to myself. So now we are back on this Friday, the 18th, and we're going to break down some of the stuff that went down this past, these past weeks I've been off. It's not just gonna focus on what happened this week on Raw and SmackDown. It's just gonna be, or in the world of wrestling. We're gonna talk about all of the stuff that went down this past week, and as you noticed by the title, the big topic, our main topic, is going to be all elite wrestling, and what does that mean for the wrestling world? So that is that. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting topic to talk about. But right now, let's do what we always do first and foremost, and that's put over and bury. So let's start with put over and bury. And of course, we go first by putting over. And what we do is we talk about the, good things. Usually we go to three. If something else comes up, I may talk about that, but I do have three things to put over and three things to bury that happened over this past month that I have been away. The first one was they got rid of the automatic rematch clause. So the Monday night after TLC, all of the McMahons came out there, and Shane and Triple H and Stephanie and Vince, they all came out there to talk about what was going on because you know widely the last 3 or 4 weeks before that, the Monday Night Raws had been, to some people's opinions, terrible. Now I wouldn't say that. I really do think there was one really really bad one in there, in my opinion. But I wouldn't say they were terrible. I wouldn't say they were good either. But yeah, it was really really bad. Even much so that there were some people that just they decided not to watch wrestling for a week. They decided not to. In fact, Brian Zane of Wrestling Regret, yeah, that's what he did. He didn't watch. He didn't watch Raw, but he didn't watch SmackDown. He didn't do his normal who wore it better. He talked about you know uh, another thing with like Joey Janela's thing that happened with the old death match and David Arquette thing. So so it was really really bad. But so that they decided, they came out there and they said that there was going to be a new era, changes were going to come, new fate. They said all of these things. But I think one of the biggest things, now, here's what I say about that in the new era. Um, I don't know if a lot of things are going to change. I just really don't, because you can't just do that in the middle like that. That's one thing. WCW did that, and WCW needed to do that. If you may remember, was it late '99 or early 2000, something like that, where they just dropped every storyline, they dropped everything, they took away every title, and they tried to change it around. Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo was going to work together. They tried to do all of that, something like that, and then they kind of made they still had that the new blood where like the new kids were going to be pushed over, but even still that didn't happen because I think Hulk Hogan beat Billy Kidman, on pay-per-view match or something like that. So it's supposed to be like the new blood. You're going to take on the Millionaires Club or whatever the hell they were calling all those people. So it was supposed to be a new era in WCW, and that didn't work. They still went down the toilet. So I don't really think that there can really be a truly new era in WWE. They just can't hit the full reset button and hit the full, like you can on the old Nintendo when you would just hit reset or something like that. I don't think you can just do that. But you can make some changes to certain things. I think you can do that. They decided they're going to bring up some NXT, not any other really main ones, but they were going to bring up some people from NXT to try to put some in, bring in some new faces. But for me, that's kind of a plus and a minus, because I have complained for like the past year that you can almost say they have too much talent, because there were times when people would go shows with not being on television. You know, they talked about it. Shout out to the guys over at Wrestle Talk, Luke Owen and Ali Davis. They're the ones that told me that Andrade Cien Almas hadn't been on television. You know, when he appeared on television, I guess it was it might have been the Tuesday after that Monday Night Raw. When he appeared on television that Tuesday, he hadn't been seen on television since SummerSlam. Since SummerSlam. Or he hadn't wrestled on television, maybe. Maybe he was seen, but he hadn't wrestled since SummerSlam. But that shouldn't happen. So when you have all this talent, yeah, it's kind of hard to try to keep this one. You're always seeing people. I'm always seeing people on Twitter. I've seen Dana Brooke say, "I want to wrestle." A couple this past weekend, I saw Peyton Royce put on Twitter, "I want to wrestle," and she got a chance to wrestle. This past Tuesday. So they have all of this talent, and they are not using them, correctly, or using them enough. And listen, I don't watch Main Event, and I don't watch Superstars, so I don't know if people are getting TV time on there. If people are getting TV time on there, then I guess that's good. I guess that's fine. But I don't necessarily watch it. But I do think that when it comes to the big show, listen, people don't need to be on every week. I've always said that. People don't need to be on every week. They don't need, Bobby Lashley's the Intercontinental Champion, right? He doesn't want the Intercontinental Championship this week. Bobby Lashley doesn't need to be on Monday Night Raw. Or at least, at the very least, he doesn't need to be wrestling on Monday Night Raw. He and Leo Rush can do a backstage segment or do a backstage promo, something like a vignette. They like to do those crazy vignettes, because when you have the people up there holding the thing up there like that, as if they're holding a cell phone or something like that, have them do a thing like that. But he doesn't need to be wrestling now. I think the main guys, the main people in your division need to be wrestling, right? Well, or I wouldn't even say that, because really does AJ Styles need to be wrestling? Daniel Bryan need to be wrestling? No, I mean they didn't wrestle this past Tuesday. They had a mini brawl, mini segment. So I think there are ways to get people on television and get people, without their wrestling. Like, the big names don't need to wrestle. Maybe that's what I say, right? Some of the main eventers don't need to wrestle, but maybe they need to be on the show in some form or fashion, right? They don't. But then some of the smaller people need to be on the show to try to get them over, so that they will have somebody else to wrestle. Some of the main event guys to wrestle. So maybe that's the way to do it. But I'm talking about this, and what I'm actually doing is I'm actually doing my video that I said I was going to do before about the changes in WWE that I like to see. I need to listen to my original video, and then I want to do an updated version to that, a reloaded version, I'm calling it. That's what I'm doing. So, but all of this I'm talking about is to get to they're getting rid of the automatic rematch clause, which is just I think it's one of, if not the laziest way to do booking in wrestling. The automatic rematch clause. I just think it's stupid. Now, I know some people are saying, well, listen, Becky Lynch is basically getting her rematch with Asuka, and AJ Styles is getting a rematch with with Daniel Bryan or anything like that. But having said that, yes, um, they are getting their rematches, but they earned them. Becky Lynch had to wrestle in a triple threat against Carmella and Charlotte to get her rematch. I'll take that. I'll take that. They have to earn the rematch. They're just not just given a rematch. Now, I've said this before. I would be okay, saying if you held the title this amount of days, like if you held the title for 120 days, which would be 4 months, right? If you held it for 120 days, then you are worthy enough to getting an automatic rematch. Because I would be fine with that. But the way they do it, they don't, especially like the secondary titles, you don't see a lot of 4-month reigns. Or if you do, like Shinsuke Nakamura, you get a 4-month reign, but you are barely on television. He's barely on television. So whatever it is, and he rarely defends it as well. So yeah. So I think that's something that I'm glad they've gotten rid of, and they find creative ways to give people their rematches perfectly. Earn them, do this, do that. Well, I would say if they wrestle for them. I don't want to see them, doing trials and tribulations, like trying to do jumping jacks. No, I don't want to see that. Or I don't want to see I don't want to see them slapping Vince McMahon like AJ Styles did if they ended one of those SmackDowns, right? I don't want to see that. But if they earn them in the ring, I'm perfectly fine with it. The WWE announced this week that we're going to have, finally, WWE Women's Tag Titles. Now, I have been wondering, how are they going to do the Elimination Chamber match coming up in February? And I think I know how they're going to do at least one of them. I don't know if there's going to be 2 chamber matches, but there's going to be one, and it's going to be the women's tag titles. And you're going to have 3 tag teams from Raw, 3 tag teams from SmackDown, and they're going to fight inside the Elimination Chamber match. The surviving team will be the first ever women's tag titles match. The first ever women's tag team champions. And I think this is good. I really do think this is good. And I think this is a perfect way to. This is a perfect way to set up the Sasha Banks heel turn that everybody's been wanting, right? Because Sasha Banks is facing Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble, and I think what they may do is that Sasha Banks, she had this, she's going to say that she got so energized, she felt so good, she felt like the boss again, being on her own. That's why she had to turn on Bayley. And this could end up being a Bayley. And so this could happen. I also think that this very well could be where Sasha and Bayley obviously win the tag titles. And over the rest of 2019, they get, they end up, doing this thing. And then one of them will walk out on the other during a title match, and they'll lose the titles. So and then they'll start that feud. But I do think we're finally gonna get the Sasha and Bayley feud that that a lot of people have been wanting. So I think that was fine. I think another thing that happened over this past 4 weeks that I was pretty happy was Mustafa Ali was moved from 205 Live to official member of the SmackDown roster, which I thought was really good. So, and even in fact, he had a victory over Daniel Bryan. So I think that's really good. Now they need to keep him up. It looks like she may be having a little a thing with Samoa Joe last week, this past Tuesday. Samoa Joe jumped Mustafa Ali and beat him up. So this may be Mustafa Ali's first real feud is against Samoa Joe. So we'll see. And this is kind of thing because Samoa Joe needs to win a feud, but you don't want to do something like Mustafa Ali. So maybe they can do something where does Mustafa Ali, maybe it shows heart, like I said, shows heart, and maybe him and Samoa Joe can put on one of those match classics, maybe in the Elimination Chamber match, put on a Fast Lane, something like that, put on a fantastic match, and then but Samoa Joe wins. Samoa Joe needs to win something. And now let's bury some things in this world, in this wrestling world. The first thing, and probably the main thing, is I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw it. You can probably look it up on YouTube or look it up on the internet. But there's a wrestler, a young lady. Her name is Priscilla Kelly, and she apparently had a wrestling match where against another woman. Where at some point during the spot they were outside, in the thing wrestling, and she decides to dig in her trunks, pull out a tampon, a bloody tampon, and shove it in the girl's face. And I just like I just didn't get it. I really didn't. I didn't get it, and I don't get a lot of stuff these days. I don't get a lot of stuff. So like I put on Twitter, I don't get this. I don't get the dick spot. I don't get a lot of things that happen in wrestling nowadays, and it's just not on the indies. It's in WWE too. I just don't. A lot of stuff I just don't get. Leave me. I am one that, as much as the new age stuff is fantastic, as much as I love like the new age stuff, in the news, I still like the old stuff too. You give me Shawn, give me Shawn and Brett from WrestleMania 12. I take that. People. There are some people that think that match wasn't great, and it was boring because it was started off slow. But that was a fantastic match. That was two technical wrestlers doing technical wrestling stuff. I loved it. You had the only thing that was wrong with it was that Shawn was working on Brett's arm, worked on it a lot, and then Brett kind of left the arm as if he kind of just stopped. He didn't stop. He didn't sell the arm enough. Maybe throughout the match, like Shawn, like when Shawn took that bump over the ring post and landed on his back, he sold the back, all the time. But yeah. So I think it's so it's a lot of things. So I just don't get a lot of stuff I don't get, and I don't get this. But I thought this was just this. Listen. Obviously, she was the other wrestler was okay with it because I would like to think that she wouldn't do that, but she wouldn't go into business for herself like that. I like to think that, and it's just and the things about, and then she came up with the things that it pissed off Jim Cornette, obviously, because Jim Cornette just they do this to Jim Cornette. I really wish y'all would stop sending Jim Cornette these things because it's just crazy. But obviously he saw it and he did like that and he went off on it because her response to it was, it's fake, okay, and that's another big thing that I'm really kind of dealing with right now when it comes to, because I'm on social media and there are times when people are kayfabing it on the WWE on Twitter, and then sometimes they're just not. And I really wish they would. I wish they would pick a lane. I wish they would pick a lane. Well, here's what I would like for them to do. Right? Make two Twitters. Make the kayfabe account, which is your wrestling name, and then make your real account, which is maybe your real name. A lot of people have done that. A lot of people have, they've done that. They put their real name next to, beside their, their stage name. Like Alexi Bliss, she has up there Lexi Kaufman. Nia Jax for longest time had Lena Fanene. I guess that's her name. There's a lot of other ones that do that too. They put their real name next to their fake name, or some other people have done it too. So I really wish they, if that's the way you're gonna do it, then do it that way. You know, so have two separate accounts. So because now there are times in which it's certainly okay. Like, and I guess another thing would be to bury would be the idiot that leaked Tony Storm's nudes. Apparently, um, you know, apparently Tony Storm has some nudes out there. It'd be in the cloud somewhere or something like that. I'm not sure. And yeah, so the people decided to somebody's hacked in and put them out on Twitter or on Instagram or something like that. They tagged her, and she got so embarrassed and was, I'm guessing she was so embarrassed and so probably angry as well that she probably deleted all of her social media because she just didn't want to deal with it. And so, but everybody in the NXT UK universe and NXT universe all the time, they said we support Tony. It was something that had said like that. So much so that it was actually trending in some places on Twitter. Um, so and that's a good way, I think, for like kayfabe to be broken. Yeah. In that form of fashion, I think that's a perfect way for kayfabe to be broken. I am totally okay with a character breaking kayfabe for special things like that and other things like that. But otherwise, I don't know. And the Roman Reigns issue, obviously, there's a lot of people that did that. Some did, keep it kayfabe. But Samoa Joe, I liked his one. He would beat, he would beat this disease. He will make a comeback, and then he will fight me one more time. He did something like that. So all of those things are really really good things, I think. So you know that's really a good thing. Another thing to bury was from last week's Raw, Braun Strowman's promo. It was just so awkward television. And somebody on Twitter had it right. Not only was the promo awful, but when Brock Lesnar does come out there, he goes to the ring, but then he backs away like a true heel would. Why doesn't Braun Strowman run after him? Braun Strowman just stands in the ring like a dickhead with his thumb up his ass. You're the monster among men. Go get his ass. So, yeah, I think that definitely needs to be buried. I think another thing that needs to be buried is the taped TV. I can't believe how much I've hated. I hated taped TV. I really did, because it just it really was just bad. It really was. And see, and I know, they're trying. They were, last year the talent got upset because they had to work Christmas and New Year's, I believe, right? They had to work Christmas and New Year's, so they decided this year to give them, the time off. But and but the tape TV was just awful. It really was. And it is not. And it wasn't the fact that anything that they did was awful. It wasn't. But it really, and many outlets reported this. Because it was taped. Because it was taped television. They didn't. They didn't want to really do anything special. Remember, I think it was on that. I believe it was on that Christmas Eve Monday Night Raw in Chicago. In Chicago, that Christmas Eve Monday Night Raw. That's when they had that big brawl with all the women in the ring. Stephanie McMahon came out there and announced that there was going to be a women's Royal Rumble match, the first ever one, right? And it was fantastic. But they did nothing of note, and so I understand them wanting to do, wanting to give, um, give people the week off, um, and everything like that. They wanted to give them time off, but what would actually be better, I think, is to not it's not don't do a show at all. Don't do at least don't do that type of show. Do it like a review show. And let me see here. Okay, so like for instance, right? For instance, this year, December 2019, Christmas Eve falls on a Tuesday. Christmas Eve falls on a Tuesday. So New Year's Eve is on a Tuesday as well. Okay, so here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. What I would do is, oh, but wait a minute. Later on this year, it's going to be on Friday. Okay, so see, that's a lot better. So see, there actually should be no issues this year. There should be no issues this year. There should not be no taped television. Monday, December 23rd, we should have a live Raw, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday, the 27th, we should have a live SmackDown. And then the next week, Monday the 30th, we should have a live Raw, and then in the new year, we should have a new SmackDown. Now, still, let's just say you still wanted to maybe give somebody, maybe give your people some time off. Let's just say that, right? It's for the holidays, right? Okay, then. So then, what you would do is that the Friday after Christmas, you would do the best of SmackDown 2019, and then that following Monday, you would do the best of Raw 2019, and then and so you can have them do that. See, I'll be okay with that kind of show. I'll be okay with that a recap show. But if you're gonna do wrestling, it needs to be live. At least in my opinion, because the tape television was God, it was awful. God, it felt awful. It just didn't feel right. Live television. You done live shows now. It's time to keep doing live TV. Well, that's it for Put Over and Bury. Now, let's talk about the main topic of That's a Shoot, and that's All Elite Wrestling. That's the biggest story probably in this new year. I think it was announced on the very first, right? Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, along with the financial backer Tony Khan, are starting a new wrestling promotion. It's called All Elite Wrestling, and it's a new wrestling program. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens here. We're going to see who they can get. We already think we know the people that they're going to get. Some of their wrestling buddies and some of their some of their big time names. So it's going to be interesting to see who they can get. Also, see who can they get from other companies to come there. There's a lot of talk about other people from WWE already coming there, going there. Like for instance, the very first, like the revival. The revival, they're talking about maybe going there. In fact, I found it very interesting that there was on this past Monday on the back of their tights they had hashtag FTR, maybe meaning Free the Revival, and so there's some things about that. There's some things that the reason why Finn Balor is now getting this push. They're gonna get this push so that he can stay. AJ Styles' contract apparently is gonna be up sometime after WrestleMania, and it's talk about maybe would he like to go? Maybe same thing with Shinsuke Nakamura and everything like that. And then there's some definitely some New Japan and Ring of Honor and things like that. So who is going to be part of All Elite Wrestling? Well, we've already seen, they had a press conference a couple weeks ago. We know some of the names. Apparently Pac, the formerly of Neville, he's going to be there. Chris Jericho is going to go there. And they are already doing some things that I think wrestlers are going to like to want to be there. One reason why some people wanted to go to WCW because WCW was given guaranteed contracts. They were given guaranteed contracts, and I think it's kind of like this. What they're doing is that they are here. They are giving. They're not. I don't know if they're giving guaranteed contracts. But what they're doing is they're giving contracts to at a point where they will also have some type of front office job, something like that, so that then they can be they can apply for like health care, so that their wrestlers can get health care and things like that. So there's some of the things they're doing. There's also they're doing some things where they're also trying to maybe kind of unionize some things like that. So there's gonna be some things that are pretty interesting and pretty solid for um pretty solid to try and do. So here's my thoughts, right? Ever since WCW went away, I've mainly been a WWE guy. I've pretty much always been a WWE guy. I've watched WCW just because some of the guys from WWE went there. Nash and Hall with the NWO and all things like that. That was one of the reasons why I really did watch WCW was now back in the old days there were time to time I turned on WCW or even NWA wrestling, whatever you wanted to call it, because it was wrestling and I liked wrestling. I do remember watching those videos and WCW Saturday Night, and I remember watching like the Clash of Champions and other things. I remember watching like the thing with Missy Hyatt. I called her. She was the first one to do that, to have that cell phone number. Call me myself, and I'll tell you what's going on. And all those things. So, so I remember watching all of that, but I was mainly always and forever a WWE guy, and I'm always going to be a WWE guy. When TNA came around, again, I wanted to watch it because I thought it was interesting, and for the longest time I did. When it came on Thursday nights on Spike TV, I watched it. I tried to watch as much of it as I could. I tried to watch, and then I watched most of all the episodes, and I found it to be entertaining. I liked a lot of it. I even kept up with the storylines for the most part. But ever since it went on Spike TV and went all over the places, I have not kept up with it very much. And even so, like even now, like the last thing I tried to keep up with it. I tried to, I couldn't do it. So whatever, but and now I'm not really not interested. But when all Elite Wrestling comes on television, and I think there's something like Tuesday night something or something like that, I think I will watch it, right? Because I think smartly they decided. I think they're gonna start doing their television um on Tuesday nights when SmackDown goes to Friday nights when they move to Fox later in the year. So I think that's kind of a smart thing to do. Since try to catch the people who have been accustomed over the past couple of years to watching wrestling on Tuesday nights will now maybe look for that to watch, and so I'll watch it now, and I will check it out. I know I'm not rooting for it to fail, but I'm also kind of not rooting for it to succeed as well, because I am a WWE guy, and one thing I don't want to do is I don't want WWE to go out of business. I really don't. What I want WWE to do is to get themselves better. Is to be better. Be better. Be better creatively. Be better. Anything like. What I hope this does do is that this allows. What this does is that maybe this opens the eyes of Vince and his crew for them to be a little bit more, to be a little bit more creative. Let the wrestlers be a little more creative, because apparently that's what it is. You can't. There's a lot of rules and structures that are a part of WWE that the people have to follow, And at one point, I think that's good. I think that's good to have that. But maybe also it is to be able to have a little bit more creativity, with that, particularly with their characters. I don't care about match wise because we've seen that they don't need to do Canadian destroyers. They don't need to do power bombs on the aprons, and they don't need to do power drivers on aprons. They don't need to do all of this high flying crazy stuff to have a fantastic match. Again, John Cena and AJ Styles had one of the best matches probably in the history of Royal Wrestling Entertainment. And back in was it 2017 January, the Royal Rumble 2017, 16, one or the other, they had a fantastic match, and they never left the ring. They never left the ring. They never did. They never went onto the floor. They never did anything. They had a wrestling match, and it was fantastic, and it was exciting, and it was all in all just fantastic. So they can do that even with some of the things, but maybe creatively take more creative chances with the characters. One thing is maybe let people do more, of their own promos. Stop striking them down to promos, because apparently they script the entire promo, and then and you can't do that, and then wrestlers just have to read remember and then read it verbatim, and it comes and everybody says they come off stiff and things. Only there's very few people who I think get to do their own promos. Like recently, it was rumored that Paul Heyman and Ronda Rousey, they come up with her stuff. They do her stuff because Ronda wants it to be the way she would talk. And then the very first one was the infamous Nikki Bella promo, right? The one that some people thought was slut shaming. And I don't know if she's still doing it, but yeah. And many people have said that when Roman Reigns let go of the Universal Championship, relinquished it, some people were saying that was his best promo because it was him. It was him being him. He wasn't reading lines, trying to remember lines. He was just being himself. And maybe if he was being himself, and the entire presentation, maybe hopefully when Roman Reigns does come back, maybe just let a little bit of Joe Ananawi come out in Roman Reigns instead of when he comes out, and he comes out in a t-shirt and the wrestling boots and the wrestling gear. Which, by the way, maybe he needs to do more, upgrade that and get some new of that. Maybe he comes out in that necklace and in the shirt. He comes out in the necklace and the shirt and the hair, everything like that. The jeans, and maybe he comes out looking like that. To talk to the crowd, the Jewish promo. So I think there are, so there's some ways to maybe they will let them be more creative and do things like that. But that's one I don't want to do is I don't want AEW to try to compete. I don't want that to be. I want them to try to put them out of business. Let them do their own thing. Let them end up being the number 2 wrestling promotion in the country, right? But they stay number 2. They never get anywhere close to WWE to the point to where they would even think about trying to compete with them in any form of fashion. Meaning they wouldn't try to put on shows, against them. That they wouldn't try to move Tuesday night whatever to Monday night or to Friday night, or they wouldn't try to do what Ring of Honor and New Japan was doing, and they, booking Madison Square Garden on WrestleMania weekend. They wouldn't try to do that. They wouldn't, like, WrestleMania is going to be in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. They wouldn't go to the American. They wouldn't go to the American. They wouldn't go to the arena that the Hawks play in, wherever the hell that is. And try to put on a show then at that WrestleMania weekend. Anything like that. But yeah, they can come out and let them do the thing. I think it would be fantastic. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think about All Elite Wrestling. Are you not me? Do you want them to try to compete with WWE to try to put them out of business? Do you want? Are you with me? Do you want them to do just enough to where maybe WWE makes a couple changes here and there to their product? Or do you even say, why does it even take All Elite Wrestling for you to try to push Finn Balor or anything like that? So, at some point, maybe in the next couple of weeks, I'm also going to do a video when I do That to Shoot. One of my topics is going to be why the WWE shouldn't listen to its fans. And I'm going to give my reasons for why the WWE should not listen to the fans. So, you're definitely going to want to make sure you're there for that. Because I think next week, we will be talking about the NXT TakeOver Phoenix and the Royal Rumble predictions. So we will be doing that to shoot. So, but I think it's a couple of weeks. Look out for, in case something else happens. Look out for the why WWE shouldn't listen to its fans, because they never have. They never have. Were the fans really clamoring back in the '80s for Sergeant Slaughter? To beat the Ultimate Warrior? Really? Were they really clamoring for that? No, I doubt it. I don't think they were clamoring for. I don't think they were clamoring for for whatever you think. They weren't clamoring for Macho Man to beat the Ric Flair at WrestleMania 8. I think they probably did want Hogan to beat Hogan to face Ric Flair at WrestleMania 8. So there's a lot of things that they were not clamoring for the WWE did. And of course that was back in the days when kayfabe was not as dead as it is right now, and the fans, 99% of the fans know every freaking thing that goes on. So, but still, anyway, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. If you like my content, in the description box down below, I have 2 donation links. Any amount is fine. I just feel like that, everybody's got like this Patreon. I didn't want you to have to try to pay for other stuff that I do here. I like just putting it all out here. And if you feel like giving me a donation, fine. If you don't, even better. Just enjoy my content. That's all I ask. I thank you so much for just even watching it. So, and yes, and thank you all for watching. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.